Hello everyone, my name is Phawx. This is Grand Theft Auto 5 running on the Neo. So right now you can see our frame rate is a little bit down. It's because I am running at an extremely low TDP. Technically I'm running at 6 watt TDP. So if we take a look right here, you can see it says 5.3 watt. In the back end, that is actually 6 watt. Our total system power right down below you can see is 10 watt. What this means to you is that effectively in this particular setting we can run the game for roughly 5 hours, a little bit under 5 hours, but that's an extremely long session. Oh, wait, I need a new car here. No, please stop. Oh no, that was a nice car. Whoa, I'm gonna get destroyed. Okay, so one thing to make note of, I do have Radeon Boost running in the background. However, at a low TDP, it really isn't super effective. So one thing that we can take a look at, if we move around, it becomes very evident when we take a look at like artifacting around the characters. You can see it's nice and crisp here, but if I start moving, everything gets fuzzy. There's some artifacting around the characters, nice and crisp, fuzzy with some artifacting. So what Radeon Boost does is it does this dynamic res scaling only on movement. However, at extremely low TDPs, there really isn't enough power for anything to happen effectively. In this particular arrangement, you're actually far better off running at a lower TDP. So if we go ahead and take a look at the graphics settings, you can see that I am running DirectX 11. All settings are as low. We do have full screen 1280 by 800. Everything is set to off or as low as possible. And if we go to advanced, you can see right now I'm running a 67% resolution scale. I'm going to go ahead and put that to 50%. Again, we have an extreme low TDP right now, 6 watt. So if I go ahead and push to 50% resolution scale, it becomes very evident. Aliasing is all over the place, especially if I just jam on the brakes here. If I get out of here, the aliasing around the high contrast sweater becomes very evident. So you can see the stair stepping or the aliasing around his sweater. Now all of this weird patterning you see here is because of the extreme low resolution. If we go ahead and boost that up, that all goes away. But then at this low TDP, we really can't run that effectively. You can see that looks considerably better. And that's just the result of such a, basically running at 400p. But going up to 800p, we're actually running at native resolution right now. You can see our frame rate has tanked significantly. Again, this is very low TDP. In this particular arrangement, you can run at 5 hours. So you'd have 5 hours of battery life in this particular arrangement. Let's go ahead and change TDP. We're going to bump it from 6 watt to 9 watt. Alrighty, we are at 9 watt now. And you can see our frame rate has increased significantly. At least now it is completely playable. Especially from before, we're almost getting double. I've gone ahead and re-enabled Radeon Boost to see if it helps us out, if we have enough power in the hopper to get us a little bit more performance boost. You should be able to see it get all fuzzy and stuff. And again, remember, Radeon Boost only works on a few different games. By my count, it's only 15. More than likely, AMD's Super Resolution, which should really be exclusive to RDNA 2 architectures and above. Super Resolution being the AMD's DLSS alternative, which they are still working on in the background, which will be super awesome with newer chipsets that support that. But more than likely, Radeon Boost is a one-off thing, as I don't know how much work they're going to be putting in on a per-game basis. For my money, the image sharpening tool is actually far better. The only problem is this is a DirectX 11 game, and it does not support DirectX 10 or DirectX 11 game. Basically, every API that Grand Theft Auto 5 runs at, the sharpening tool does not support. Supposedly, the latest drivers, which I am on, do support DirectX 11 games, but that's hit or miss. Trying to get information on that is pretty hard. So the only thing that AMD has said is DirectX 9, DirectX 12, and Vulkan are universally working with the image sharpening tool. It's not a per game basis, it's an API level application filtering. So again, we are running 9 watt TDP right now, but you can see our total system power. We went to 15 watt. Effectively right now, you're going to get 3 hours of battery life. So a 3 watt increase massively reduced our battery life. We went from effectively 5 hours down to 3 hours of battery life, going to 9 watt. But we are, again, running at 800p. So if I go ahead and just change this to, at least I believe we're at 800p. Let me go here. Yeah, we're at 800p. So if I went to 67%, as you can see, I'm at a 67% resolution scale. And at 9 watt, and we got close to 60 FPS. Things are far more fluid, but there are some like artifacting with shadows due to the low resolution. And also, in terms of shadow distance, it's basically creeping right up on us. So obviously there are going to be some settings that you're going to want to tweak to change to make sure that how far out things get drawn are more appealing to you, but at the expense of using more power. In this particular setting, we're just doing the lowest settings possible. But again, 9 watt TDP, basically 3 hours of battery life in this particular arrangement. All right, so we are at 12 hour right now, but again, we're still at 67% resolution scale. So I am going to go ahead and bump that to 800p. So we're at 12 watt TDP and full 800p, low settings. Total system power is at 19 watt. We're looking at 2.5 hours of battery life at the moment at 12 watt TDP. So as we start going up in power and TDP, we start to significantly lose. Come on, Kappa. We start to significantly lose those advantages of battery life. So if you were wondering what to effectively run at, 6 watts is going to give you outrageous TDP. And then as 9 watt TDP, you're still going to get 3 hours and 30 minutes, which is still really good. Not as ridiculous as 5 hours, but still really good. And then at 12 watt TDP, you know, we're not really 60 FPS. We're not full. We are full 800p, but we're not 60 FPS. So let's go ahead and bump it up to 15 watt right now. Alrighty, we are now at 15 watt TDP. Our total system power went up to 22 watts. And we are effectively at 2 hours and 5 minutes. 2 hours and 5 minutes of battery life at 15 watt TDP, which is about accurate. We are now getting closer to 60 FPS more consistently. Super smooth. Now there is not VSync on, so you might have seen some vertical screen tearing. Again, this is a portrait level display, so screen tearing happens like this instead of like this. And you could fix that easily by putting on VSync. All right, so one thing I've done now is I've gone ahead and just enabled max settings on pretty much everything except reflection MSAA. I kept that off just because that's going to really kill us in performance. So go ahead and apply. Oh, I have to restart. Alrighty, so I've gone ahead and enabled highest settings as possible and a few of these settings, and just before maxing out what the game is telling me my max VRAM is. And I've already gone ahead and restarted. Now we are using 18 watt TDP right here. Effectively an hour and 50 minutes worth of battery life, but at maximum settings right here. So we just take a look at it. Looks really, really good. So I wouldn't fault anyone for wanting to sacrifice a tremendous amount of battery life just to play this really nice and just be plugged in. This is at 18 watt. Now what's interesting here is I do have Radeon Boost enabled, and when we have such high settings, it actually is noticeable to see the dynamic resolution scale happening. So let's go ahead and just take a look at this like railing right over here. When we move, you can actually see it become more aliased. We don't get a gigantic performance boost from it, but you can indeed see. You know what's interesting is it almost acts like a motion blur, which is pretty cool. But we're not seeing a gigantic performance increase from it. Still, I don't mind it. I can't really notice it, and it effectively acts as a pretty nice motion blur, so I'm a fan of it. All right, I have set 22 watt, and our total system power is 31 watt right now. So you should be able to see that we're using almost 32 watts total system power. It's like an hour and a half, a little bit under an hour and a half of battery life. Not sure if that juice is worth the squeeze, to be honest. Don't know if we're seeing a good effective use of increase in frame rate. I'm just trying to move the camera around just to see if dynamic res scale significantly boosts performance when we have so much extra power in the hopper. Yeah, I'm not sure I would recommend going up in TDP. This is effectively a waste of power in this respect. I would probably say even 15 watt. Let's go ahead and jump back down to 15 watt real quick while we're here. Alrighty, we're at 15 watt now. Still at 30-ish FPS. Significantly less. I mean, we just dropped 8 total watts. So at 15 watt, why would you bother going up to 22 watt? You're really not going to get anything worthwhile out of that. In fact, let's go down even further. Let's go 12 watt. Alrighty, we're at 12 watt now. Oh, there was a hitch right there. There was a noticeable hitch. 12 watt is still not bad, but there was a noticeable hitch, but maybe it was just a fluke. We're getting under 30 FPS now. But still, look at our total system power. We're now at 20 watt, so effectively 2 hours and 20 minutes. Not a sensational difference in frame rate compared to, spending an extra 12 watts total system power wise. I'd probably say around 13 watt are going to be good, and you still be able to get 2 hours of battery life. I mean, effectively at 15 watt TDP, you're looking at 2 hours of battery life. Right now we're at 12 watt, and it's 2 hours and 10 minutes worth of battery life. So even at 12 watt, what are you really losing? 10 minutes? Is that really worth it? I'd probably just say go to 15 watt just to smooth out the experience at that point. So really, when you're taking a look at this game, just kind of take a look at different settings. What happens if we go ahead and lower resolution scale? Yeah, it's not even worth it. Just keep it at 800p. Yeah, I wouldn't even recommend going to 50% resolution scale. 67% isn't giving us anything. We just lowered resolution and got nothing out of it. Alright, so that was my look at Grand Theft Auto 5 on the Aya Neo. I guess it really depends on, what you're looking to get. If you want unreal battery life, you can go down to 6 watt and just lower settings and do resolution scale. 67% works fine. 50% if you want to really fine tune, have the max frame rate possible. Let me take this thing. Pull over. Yeah, so this is my look at Grand Theft Auto 5 on the Aya Neo. Really good showing, even from AMD's very old Vega GPU. Excited to see where Rembrandt goes, really. This is exciting times, to say the least. It's still an excellent handheld. I mean, we have a pretty giant range in terms of what you're looking to accomplish. So either you're going to be doing, 5 hours of battery life at super low settings at 6 watt TDP, or you're going to be doing, 2 hours and 10 minutes at 12 watt TDP. it's a big drastic jump, but I guess it is kind of in line. So really up to you. Anywho, this has been my look at... I put on a helmet. This has been my look at Grand Theft Auto 5 for the iNeo, which is an AMD 4500U Renoir platform. As always, guys, thank you for your time, and thanks for watching.